Hello and welcome to another episode of Euro 2020 Happy Hour, and we're live with myself, Sham, aka FPL 2 Guys 1 Cup.
And myself, Rob, otherwise known as FPL Panda. I had myself muted there.
Rob, how are you, mate? You all right?
Yep.
We can't see your face.
We can't. No, not today.
Okay,
No,
not today.
no. I'm too nervous for you
You're
to
too nervous.
see my face. Yeah.
Okay. Rob, it's the last 16 and we've had some cracking games and we've got another 2 games tonight. So during the group stages, we had guests from all over the community. But for the knockouts, we've decided to bring back the stars of our preview podcast, and that's the Nation Reps. Today is a huge game, and I'm not talking about Sweden and Ukraine. It is, of course, England versus Germany. And today we're doing a special. We're not doing anything fancy related. It's literally just from a footballing point of view. We've got our German rep, Keven. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine at the moment.
At the moment. So obviously we thought we'd do an England versus Germany preview just for literally from a footballing point of view. Massive game for England tonight, massive game for Germany. I'm going to the game. I can't wait. I'm repping my England flag. There we go, my flag. There we go, and my shirt, and we're ready to go. How are you feeling?
Yeah, my heart rate has increased significantly the last 24 hours. I'm quite nervous, but at the same time, I'm positive and motivated for this game because I believe in Germany. But at the same time, I have my questions with the coach Jogi Löw.
Okay, before we get into it, what's your obviously yesterday we had 2 cracking games, the Spanish game and the French game. Obviously France losing out in the end and Spain winning 5-3 in extra time. Do you think we'll get a high scoring game today?
No. I think England, Germany and Sweden, Ukraine will be under 2 goals each. I think so.
Interesting. All right, so let's go from the beginning first before we go on to the game tonight. I want to know, how have you guys done in the group stages? What's the kind of thoughts? And obviously we know that you went through, but how do you think you actually did?
I would say we did not so good. We were really lucky in the end against France with their own goal. Yeah, it was disappointing in one way, and I think we should have done better. But France did a good work. They had the counter attacks with Mbappé all the time and should have won with 3 or 4-1, I would say. Against Portugal, we got everything we wanted because they matched our game plan perfectly. But against Hungary, once again, the formation, the tactics, Jogi Löw in the end just threw everything in there, and then the former English player Musiala did the one thing that was really good, did his guy on the flank and just passed the ball to Goretzka so that Germany were through to the next round. So I would say through a German perspective, not a good group stage, but in the end we are through, and now the real deal is beginning.
What was the thoughts? I just want to know, like, obviously during that game, for large parts you were going out, right? With obviously Hungary winning. What was your because from what we've heard, it was like 1-0 when it was 1-0. They scored together, like they scored again Hungary within like a minute, and the German fans were still celebrating the goal. What was it like as a German fan during that game? Like, was it a case of, oh, it's only Hungary, we're going to win, of course we're going to win? Or was it a case of, oh my God, we actually could go out here?
I'm more of the critic. I'm not always the most positive one. So when we got against Hungary, I was not sure that we would win the game because of the way we played before. So when Hungary took the lead, the first time and the second time, I was really sure that this could be it. This could be another disaster like 2018, where Germany just had to win against South Korea. So I'm blogging. I write about the German football and the German national team. So I was already starting with the big headlines that Jogi Löw, this was it. Thank you for nothing. And yeah, go on. So I wasn't so positive, but in the end, I'm glad that Goretzka did that goal and that Germany are through.
Okay, so who were your standout players during the group stages, would you say?
I would say there's not one play that was so outstanding the whole group stage, but I would say that Thomas Müller did really his job. Once again, he showed why he was back in the national team. His encouragement for his teammates, his play on the field, but also off the field was really important for the German team. And I would also say Leon Goretzka when he was subbed on. You can see the difference. He is the kind of player that can go through the type of defense that we all always going against. So I would say those two, and then Gosens in the Portugal game, but not in the France or in the Hungary game.
Yeah, because there was thoughts that, I know there's been some rumours coming out today that he might be ill, but even before that, there was rumours saying actually Gosens might be dropped for the game because Kimmich was, Löw wasn't happy with his performance. Would you say he deserves to be dropped for the game today, or?
I would say that Gosens is the best player if Germany wants to play this formation 3-4-3. Then I think Gosens is a perfect match for that. But at the same time, I don't think against Hungary and against France, of course, it's kind of his faults too, but they just closed the door for him. He had no match in the game against Hungary. He had nothing. He could do nothing because they really took him out. So I would say that it's also Löw's fault that Gosens played as he played.
Okay. So let's talk about Löw then, because I know you've got a lot to say about him. What's your thoughts? What's he doing wrong? What would you like him to do? What's your thoughts on him as a manager for you guys at the moment?
Yeah, the biggest, as I said before, the biggest weakness, I think, all due respect for England, is Germany and Löw's stubbornness, because his 3-4-3 formation has been heavily criticized, as I told before. And against the game against Hungary, we saw it again. It's clear that the tactics don't work for Germany when they meet teams that aren't playing so offensive football, such as Portugal, but when they play against teams as France and Ukraine, then everything is closed and they don't get through. And that's why I think if Löw plays this formation once again against an English team that will play, as the rumors are saying, with a 3-back, as they have done before, I think that Germany will have a really hard time, because Löw has a perfect, you can say, gift from Hansi Flick in Bayern Munich, the coach there. He got every ingredients to play a really good formation, a 4-2-3-1 formation, where he can play the triangle with Goretzka, Kimmich, and Müller. They can find each other in the dark. They know exactly where they are at the field. And Kimmich is like Kanté, if you want to compare, a player that is at its best in the middle of the pitch and wins so much ball, and also is good at the offensive when it comes to the attacking. So I think it's a disgrace in one way, and a crime, I would rather say, that he is so stubborn that he always wants to do his way. That is, very clear, not the right way.
Okay. What's the feeling in the camp at the moment? So I guess two questions. What's the feeling within the German camp, and what's the feeling within Germans in general in terms of the fans? Not only just about tonight, but not just only about the group stages, but tonight as well.
What I've heard from the German camp, it's quite positive. They are through. They are glad that they are through, and they are really hungry for the game against England. So the atmosphere is positive, but as Bild has said, many players in the German camp wants other tactic. They want to play in another formation because this isn't suiting them, and that's also something that you can hear and listen to the Germans in Germany, because we don't like the way Jogi plays at the moment, and he has experimented in the last 2-3 years after the bad World Cup 2018. So yeah, the atmosphere isn't the best, but at the same time, we want to believe in our team. We want to go through to the next stage, and of course to beat England at Wembley in front of 45,000 Englishmen and women would be amazing, I would say.
Yeah, so let's talk about the game tonight then. I guess Germany have a good record against England, right? England historically haven't had, excuse me, haven't had a good record against Germany. But English fans, I guess some will say it's coming home, some will say it's not. Are German fans more confident because it's against England and you guys always have a good record? Or is it a case of you don't think you can win because of what's happening with Löw and the way that Germany are playing at the moment? And I guess the next other part of it is, are you happy you're playing England versus someone else?
I would say firstly, the German people are quite comfortable in a one way to play against England, because as you said, the history is positive. They are talking about Euros 96 in England and the semifinals against England at Wembley, and the ironically match against that, Gareth Southgate was the man who missed the penalty, and Andreas Köpke, who took the penalty, the goalkeeper, is in the German team as a coach. So there are many things that are talking for Germany in that direction, and also that the German team has Champions League winners, league winners, World Cup winners, everything. And you look at the English team that is quite younger and not so perfectly with the trophies and so, if I say that way. So I would say the Germans are comfortable in one situation, but at the same time it's the knockout stage, so everything can happen.
So England are rumoured to be playing a back five. That's kind of what everyone's saying. Obviously, we've been traditionally playing a back four, but for tonight we're going to be playing a back five. Does that suit Germany or not?
I would say if Germany plays the 3-4-3 formation, as I think they will do, then it doesn't suit Germany that England plays with a back five, because England will close the doors for Germany, and at the same time they can just wait for the counter-attack with Sterling and Foden and Harry Kane. And that's the way Hungary made their goals. That's the way France made their goals. That's the way Portugal made their goals. So I would say that Gareth Southgate makes a good decision if he makes this tonight.
Yeah, during the tournament, obviously England, the way that we've played has been very defensive. We've had a lot of, people haven't been happy. We've had a lot of criticism with our offensive play in terms of, or lack of offensive play, I should say. Only scored a couple of goals, but we haven't conceded any. We've been very defensive, very resolute at the back. Again, some saying it's because we haven't come across, a tough team yet. Does that defensive kind of wall that we play, does that play into Germany's hands, or is that better for England?
I would say firstly
better for Germany.
Yeah, I would say for England it's good. They have the confidence that they haven't, that they have done a good work at the back. But at the same time, I think, as you said before, with Serge Gnabry, with Kai Havertz, with Thomas Müller, they will now face players that are better than they played before. And just look at the records that Serge Gnabry has in London, if we like history, against Tottenham or Chelsea. I think Harry Maguire and John Stones and Minks, they will have a tough time against Germany. But at the same time, if they are really good at the back and they are using their physics, then it will be hard for Germany.
If Löw is rumoured to play the team that, the back five, and England are playing the back five, how can England win this game? If they're going to win, where will it be?
Counterattacks, I would say.
Yeah.
I think, of course, England is a team that wants the ball. They want to lead the game and show that they are the bigger team. But at the same time, I think Gareth Southgate is smart enough to see that Germany has the capacity to take that role in this game, and then go on counterattacks instead. And with players like Sterling, like Foden, like Rashford, Germany will have a hard time to cope with them, because Mats Hummels isn't the fastest player, neither Ginter or Rüdiger. And when Gosens and Kimmich are up at the front, it will be hard to count them down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your knowledge on England is like, but obviously we're rumoured to play Saka instead of the likes of Grealish or Foden or Mount today. So I think the predicted lineup, should we say, is Pickford in goal, Mings, Stones, and Maguire, Trippier, Shaw, Rice, Phillips, Saka, Sterling, Kane. Does that please you from a Germany point of view, that we're not playing or not starting the likes of Foden, Mount, Grealish, or would you say Southgate is right in playing that team that he's picked?
Might be scared of being 0-0 after an hour, because they won't be sitting on the bench for long after that.
No, that's true. I would say Gareth Southgate makes a good deal here, because he can always throw Foden and Rashford, and also I think it's really weird that Sancho doesn't play players like that into the game and make it different. That's the thing that Germany doesn't have. They don't have the players that are good one against one. They only have Serge Gnabry and Musiala and Leroy Sané that hasn't any confidence anymore. So that's the thing I think talks for England. I think as a whole team, Germany is the better team. They have the historics, they have the routine, they have the big players, but at the same time they haven't that really good game as they had at the World Cup 2014. So these players that can make the difference in the game will be really important tonight, I think.
What's your predicted lineup then for Germany? Is it the same that you went against Portugal?
Yes, mostly. The only thing is that I think that Goretzka will go in against Gundogan. So first of all, Neuer in goal. We will probably have Mats Hummels, Ginter, and Rüdiger. A bit of question mark for Rüdiger because an infection, as well as Gosens. If they don't play, Halstenberg and Niklas Süle will play in their positions. And in the midfield.
And sorry, you were saying the latest actually this morning was that Gosens was out, but now you think he's back in.
Yes. Sport One said that most likely Löw will risk to play Gosens tonight against England, but it's not confirmed yet. But the rumors says so. So I think Gosens at the left, and then Toni Kroos, Goretzka, and Kimmich, and at the front, Serge Gnabry, Kai Havertz, and Thomas Müller. So it's quite the same team, but Goretzka from start, and I think that's the positive thing for Germany, because Goretzka brings more physics. He's the box-to-box player that is good in the defense, but also in the offensive play. So that's a good weapon for Germany.
So how do you see this game going tonight then? What's your predicted, I guess, score? And will all the England fans be saying it's not coming home?
I hope, but it's really hard to say. I would say it will go to extra time. I'm quite sure. I don't think.
Well, after a 3-3 or after a 0-0?
I think mostly 1-1, and then extra time, and it just screaming, I think, penalties in one way. And yeah, then we will see. Of course, Germany has the advantage of the history. They are not losing so many times at penalties, and England, yeah, as everybody knows, hasn't the best history when it comes to penalty shootout. But maybe the training with Gareth Southgate last year has done something, so they maybe can make it through. But the biggest thing is when it comes to penalty, Germany has Manuel Neuer and England has Pickford. All due respect to Pickford, but Manuel Neuer,
is he a good penalty saver?
Yeah, he's a good penalty saver. He's a beast. He has been in those situations before, and yeah, I think that's the big difference when it comes to penalty.
Oh, Pickford hasn't done too bad in his 2 penalty shootouts for England. Did he say? I think he saved 2 in the Nations League, 3rd, 4th playoff against Switzerland. And we saw last night that they're very good at penalties. So yeah, he got us a couple of saves there. I can't even. I dread to think about penalty shootouts.
I don't know why, and I don't know if this means we lose or if whatever, but I just had this feeling that Declan Rice is going to miss a penalty. And I don't know if he will take one. I hope I haven't jinxed it.
I think everyone gets that way about players from their club. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were like, last night you were saying, oh, Pogba's going to miss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want Declan Rice to take a penalty because I worry he's young. He has got a big, I don't know. He's gone for a lot of stick and then he's managed to get England fans on side, and I just would not want him to go the other way and miss a penalty tonight. Rob, what's your predictions on the game? What do you think? You've heard what Keven has to say.
I agree. I think it's going to be tight. I really don't want to be too positive because you're kind of tempting fate a little bit. But I think like if England score first, I can see it just being a 1-0. I think if Germany score first, that's when we'll see what this English side's character's like. Going behind in a big game at a big tournament against a big opponent, have they got enough in them to sort of just stand up and go, right, this game's not over. Like in the past, I think we've seen English sides fall apart when they've gone behind in a major tournament. Like we very rarely see them come back from 1-0 down at major tournaments. So yeah, I think if England score first, we'll be in a good place. I still think we've got enough to get through the German defence. So I can't see Germany keeping a clean sheet. They've been very poor defensively in the 3 games they've had so far. So that kind of gives me a little bit of confidence compared to us defensively. Like we've only given away a handful of chances over the course of the 3 games, and probably only think out of all of those games maybe one big chance, and that was hard. Yeah, for Che Adams when he had the ball at the back post and kind of lashed at it. But other than that, I don't think we've given away any huge chances. So that kind of gives me a lot of confidence. But again, you could argue that our defence hasn't really been tested. Not sure.
Yeah, whereas obviously Germany have been tested against France and Portugal, right? Great attacking
and Hungary.
And Hungary. Rob, you got anything else to add from an English perspective, or any questions for Keven?
Other than I'm nervous as fuck right now. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot in such a short space of time. I mean, it's interesting to hear that from the Germany point of view, like there's also been that sort of look back at Euro 96 and past results, because I thought it was a very English thing to happen, but apparently you guys do it as well. Looking back at that fixture at Wembley, I mean, over the course of my lifetime, apart from the big result in Munich in 2001, was it 2001? It's pretty much always been Germany winning. But I think in recent years when they've played, it's been tight. There's been sort of a few tight fixtures. I went to a friendly at Wembley 3-4 years ago. Might have been longer than that between England and Germany, and that was very tight and like friendlies you can't take much from it as well. But I think this is a big moment from an England point of view. Like we've spoken about how Southgate and Euro '96 and like at the World Cup, it was kind of winning that penalty shootout against Colombia. It was kind of a big defining moment for him. Maybe, coming through this game against Germany tonight could be.
Rob, are we live? Because we've had a few people saying we're not live.
Oh, let's have a look.
It's been in the waiting screen all this time.
Oh shit. I'll put the recording out afterwards. So yeah,
so we're going to put out the recording as a podcast, yeah?
Yeah, I'll put it out straight afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting what with this moment tonight, could Gareth Southgate come through it, and I think it would give him some recognition. A lot of England fans have kind of been on his back, especially in the last couple of weeks, about his team selections and formations and everything. So yeah, it'd just be interesting going forward.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions in the chat. Obviously, everyone is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you've been streaming all this time and we haven't been able to see you." But we'll stick it out as a podcast. Just a couple of questions before that. So, Joseph Anderson asked, "Will we see Gnabry dominating London again, Keven?"
I hope. He has talked about it, and the journalists in Germany have mentioned it and said, "How is it to go back to London?" And he said, "It's good. I'm feeling well in London." So hopefully he will make a good game. He hasn't played at Wembley, but he has played against Tottenham and Chelsea before, where he made, I think, 7 or 6 goals. So hopefully.
Okay. Right, Keven, anything else to add? What's your prediction? So 0-0 or 1-1 you're saying, and then extra
penalties.
Time. Are you going England win or Germany win? You can't say England, can you?
No, I can't say. I have to say Germany. So it will be. I hope it will be the game as we saw 2010 in the World Cup, where Thomas Müller made 2 goals and we won 4-1. But I don't think so. I think it will be really tight this time.
Okay, I'm going to go with a 1-1, and I'm going to go England win on penalties.
Yeah.
Rob?
I'm going to stick by my prediction the other night on 1-0 England.
1-0 England. Right, Keven, anything else to add?
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Well, to be honest with you, Keven, right? Rob knows the type of guy that I am. I would say good luck, but honestly, I don't want to wish you good luck.
No, I understand it completely. I'm the same in a way. I'm just the most crazy thing is, if Germany wins, I'm okay, because the only thing when I'm happy is when Germany wins the trophy. Then they have met the goals that we are targeting. Before that, nothing is fine yet. So just go through now.
Right. Rob, do you want to let people know what we've got coming in the next few days?
Yeah, so on what day are we at today? It's Tuesday, isn't it? On Wednesday evening, we'll be going live for the first half of our quarterfinal previews. We've got Raul, our Spanish rep, and is it Matej? No, Nicola, our Swiss rep, who we're going to be previewing Switzerland versus Spain, as well as touching on Belgium versus Portugal. And then on Thursday we have the second half of our quarterfinal previews, where we've got Morten coming back again, the Danish rep, and Matej, the Czech rep, and we're going to be talking about Denmark versus Czech Republic and England versus Sweden. We'll say that we'll tempt fate a little bit, and we'll say that it's England or Germany versus Sweden or Ukraine on Thursday night. And we'll obviously be discussing what to do if you haven't got a wild card left, apart from maybe just delete the app for the fantasy game. I'm down. I think I've lost 7 players so far, and
I've lost 8.
Yeah, hopefully one of the reps that are coming on is on a wild card, so we can have a look at their wild card picks for their quarterfinals.
Keven, before we go, I got something really important to tell you.
Go for it.
Right, enjoy the game, my friend. I definitely will. Either way, I'll be at Wembley, so I'll have lots of fun. To the listeners and the viewers, sorry about the go live stuff situation at the moment, but in about 10 minutes, well, you'll be listening to it, but it should be coming out as a podcast. So have a good evening, enjoy the match, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Cheers, guys.